Good evening to you and good evening to yourself, Gonzo. How are you?
I'm very, very well, thank you, sir. I've got a flask of tea.
Hey, hey, hey,
It's
hey.
not a new show. That's not a new show. Just saying.
Yeah,
A
but
thermos flask of tea just with Gonzo, unless you've got a thermos flask of tea.
no, I've got my really old West Ham mug. It's my favourite mug. Look, but you can't see it, but the
I
viewers
can't see it.
can.
You're showing
I'll
everybody
show
else, but not
you,
me.
but
Oh,
I don't want to
lovely.
hover it over my keyboard in case I spill it because it's topped up
Looks
in a minute.
expensive, Geo. Encrusted in silver. Clearly, you've been taking money from your Patreon account, my
You
friend.
don't get that badge anymore, do you? So that shows you how old the mug is, doesn't it? That's bad, that, but it's my favourite one. I keep it in the cupboard, and if I have a cup of tea during the week, I think, nah, I better leave it for a cup of tea in case I use it on like the day before a cup of tea and I'm not doing dishes or something else. So I make sure I've got it. Anyway, you spoke about Patreon. We're going to get the bonus stuff over and done with. It's the Hammers chat stuff, but we want to get this done. If you don't want to listen to it, skip ahead a couple of minutes and then you'll get the West Ham stuff. First of all, Saturday, CPR training. We've got the CPR training on the boats prior to the Everton match. It's completely free. It starts at 12 and it runs until about 1:30. There's various sessions in between, a few people at a time because there's mannequins and whatnot, so only so many people can have a go at a time, kind of thing. It's completely free. In fact, the whole event for Saturday is free. All the boats are free on Saturday. The link is in the description. Just be careful what one you book, because the first one is for the CPR training, the rest is for like just attending a normal match day thing. So get booked up and we'll see you there. There is obviously the protest on Saturday and a lot of people have messaged me asking about it. There's plenty of time to do both. The training starts at 12, the protest starts at 1, and it's a 5-minute walk away from the boat. So as long as you've done your training by 1:45, you'll make the protest in perfect the good order. Anyway, Patreon talk, Gonzo. Would you like to take this one away?
Well, I can't thank everybody enough for we've been overwhelmed by the response, quite frankly, Geo. It's been magnificent. I've booked 3 escorts outside. I've sniffed a Ferrari, driven some cocaine. I've spent the accounts empty, basically. But so thank you all very much. No, seriously, I can't believe what's happened. We felt really awkward doing a video. It was a horrible video, actually. We stopped pressing record as we both said, it was horrible, wasn't it? And then we were really blown away by the response. We thought we was going to get trolled, but did we? We thought, and then just everyone was so nice and had such nice comments, and everyone that signed up has been great. And I'm just looking through the comments from the weekend as well, and not just for the Patreon, just from our normal, just subscribers that we've been going on with and having for 4 years now. And I know it sounds a bit cliched and all the rest of it. I've said it on numerous videos. I'm not just saying it now. We do have a lovely, lovely loyal bunch of subscribers, and I think they all have a laugh in the chat. They have a laugh with us. We meet so many of them on the boats. We've got a couple of people coming down, Geo, as well, to the boats who we've not met before and who are regular watchers and have been in the chat. They're coming down. One of them hopefully for the CPR training as well. I'm buzzing with a Patreon. We're gonna be able to take a day or two off a month, sit in my man cave and do more Hammers chat stuff. It's absolutely brilliant.
I can really echo that. I just want to say thank you. And 91% towards goal number 1, which is remarkable, really. When we did it, we thought I would be a bit ambitious, and we thought, well, we've got to be a bit ambitious, haven't we? But to get to 91% after a week, we launched it exactly a week ago tonight. Phenomenal. So massive thank you to everybody. Link is in the description if you want to know more or get involved. There's already a video up for the patrons. If you are a patron, you've not already seen it, you should have had an email, but it's accessible through Patreon. If you're new to Patreon, you automatically unlock that video. It's a player ratings video from the Sheffield United game, and we'll have our second Patreon video on Saturday night, which will be player ratings from Everton. But anyway, on with the West Ham stuff. I want to talk about transfer strategy. I was tempted to talk about it last night, but it was already like a half-hour show. I thought, ooh, this is good. I'm going to keep this for a cup of tea. It's changed. It's gone back to what it used to be, and I don't like it. Under Huselos, I felt like we had organisation. In the summer, both summers, we got our business done quick. Window open, bang, in came Pablo Fornals, sorted, happy days. The Maxi Gomez thing dragged on a little bit, but Sebastian, when it came obvious we were after Haller, bang, he was a West Ham player in a couple of days. Done, nice and quick, snappy. We knew what we wanted. We had a direction. It just feels like it felt like in the summer and the previous summer we were using European football, we were using analysis, we were using scouts, we were using what you should be using. It feels like now we've gone back to who does your agent know? Bring up Silkman, Mackay, I need a keeper. Who have you got in your books? It feels like we've gone back to that, and I don't like it at all. It makes me really nervous. But what scares me more is, I know Huselos got sacked, but he only just got sacked. So there must have been some element of scouting done between then and now. And I think that's where Fernandes comes in. I think Fernandes was a Huselos one. In fact, I'm pretty confident because I know for a fact that there was someone at Benfica games and I didn't know who they were watching. I didn't even know if it was a Benfica player. It could have been the opposition they were watching. I didn't know. When Fernandes came out, I thought, okay, that's who they were watching. So I'm not really surprised that the Fernandes thing's come to halt, because maybe Sullivan's heart wasn't in the deal as such. He preceded it because it'd be interesting to know Sullivan's opinion on Huselos has changed, because a month ago he clearly blamed Huselos for everything, but now, since then, Pablo Fornals has become arguably our more important player, and you do wonder if Sullivan thinks actually maybe he did know what he was talking about and I've just sacked him, so maybe we should go get Fernandes. And I think he's done a half-hearted move to go get him. But we've just gone back to this agent thing, Gonzo, and it makes me very, very nervous, because we've now got like a tunnel vision in terms of transfer targets.
Well, we don't really know what's going on, and I think
I don't think Sullivan knows what's going on.
No, but people are now fearing the worst. So the narrative was very much, if you looked, and really, we were going to get Fernandes. We wanted Fernandes. The loan was structured depending on what website you read in one certain way. The interesting news that came out was that Dave Sullivan Jr. was involved in the negotiations. One of the websites reported a director of football. Now, they very quickly came out and squashed that rumour and said, no, he's not going to be director of football. He's not experienced enough. But within the denial was an element of truth, which was basically, look, he's just involved in the deal to get some experience. What? He is involved in the deal in some way. That in itself is obviously a little bit of a concern, Gio. But my point is, when that deal collapsed, everybody is so fearful. I must have read this comment off 100 people. Sounds like an exaggeration, but look, it's not. You know, we see a lot of comments doing what we do. This is the comment. We've missed out on Fernandes. We're clearly going to get Joe Allen now. Because people are just fearing the worst. I read that so many times. And you can understand where that's coming from, Gio, because that is almost a little version of what you were saying, which is actually that's the old in terms of going for Joe Allen. The new was going for Fernandes. Now it's going back to what it used to be. That's going back to the old. Whether we'll get Joe Allen's another matter. I will certainly not going to complain about it before we've signed a bloke. But my worry is about all of this, and this sounds ridiculous because if you think they've been with us 10 years, how long were they at Birmingham? 10 years again, maybe?
They've been involved in football in 25 years, so it must have been about 15.
For 25 years. So. And so what I'm about to say now sounds ludicrous for that. Because if you've been involved in something for 25 years, you would think that that's your area of expertise. They're not football people. They're just not. They're really, really not football people. I remember when Arsenal were doing well, they had somebody called David Dean running everything. Wenger would go and see David Dean, and David Dean was a football man. He had all these contacts in football. He was the guy. And when Levy first started running his fingerprints all over Tottenham, they had a guy in there called Frank Arneson. Whether you thought he was good or bad, he was a football person. That they were surrounding themselves by football people. Even Alan Sugar did it when he was at Tottenham, and what are they called? The Fenway Group at Liverpool. They bought it. Obviously, clearly they know about American sports and American franchises. One of the first things they did was they made a little sort of committee and filled it with football people. And I'm afraid that the mixture of David Sullivan thinking he wants to be all things in all jobs in football, but a director of football, a manager, and all the rest of it, it just doesn't help, Gio. It really doesn't help, and it's a hell of a risk, I think, saying we're not going to pick a director of football now. We're not going to deal with the scouting and coaching now. we're going to leave that until the summer, then David Moyes can have a look at it. Whoa, that's a hell of a risk, because actually, arguably, our most important period of recruitment is right now. You might not even get that opportunity in the summer, because we might have got long gone by then.
I've got a mad theory, but I think because it's my theory, I'm obviously going to support it a little bit, aren't I? But I want to chuck it at you. Are you ready for my mad theory?
Yeah. Do you
remember 2 years ago when Moyes was here? We brought Moyes in, and then after the window shut, there was very much, in hindsight, it was very much we're preparing for the Championship. We brought in Hugo, we sold Ayew, we sold Fonte. Do you think we're doing that again?
No.
But let's wait for it. We've got in Moyes. If you went down, who would you want to get you back up? A manager like Moyes. What goalkeeper we're being linked with? One of the best in the Championship. What midfielder we're being linked with? Someone that's supposed to be very good in the Championship. Maybe not the selling of the players, but I wouldn't be surprised if our recruitment has got one eye on the Championship. Who can we sign that we won't have to sell in the summer if we go down? Because we've not been linked with anyone that would be gone if we got relegated.
I just don't think that would happen.
But we did it 2 years ago.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure we did. I'm not sure. I think it's very easy to be conspiratorial and think that we did that. I think it's far easier for me to believe they were just crap signings rather than any, forward planning. The whole point of the takeover has been for us to get the Olympic Stadium and to become a more valuable asset. And I mean the club, obviously not the stadium itself. And for them to sell the club on. They're very, very aware that they're under scrutiny. They're very aware that even recently people have been scrutinising the 10-point plan. Even that board, for all the stuff I criticise them, they know it would all be over for them if we got relegated. Their business plan is gone. Their business model is gone. They know that, I said they're not football people, but they're not silly in as they are property people, really. And they would know that it's going to be very, very hard to get back up. I just don't think... I think it is the worst business model in the world. I think they know. I think it would be absolutely disastrous. I think they think it's bad now with a protest planned on Saturday. They want to see a protest if they take us down. Honestly, I don't even think they'd be able to drive out their houses, mate. Do you know what I mean? It would be. They do not want that. They're not planning. They're not planning for that at all. And I know. Obviously, if they were planning for that, they wouldn't want it. I would hope it keeps us up. But I just think they're useless at recruiting. I really do.
Well, the fact that they're trying to stay up, and I think they're signing Championship standard players, that's a big worry in itself. The fact that they're looking at people down there, and there are players down there that are good enough for the Premier League, but that's not who we're looking at. We're not looking at Jayden Bowen. We're not looking at Nathan Ferguson. We're not looking at Jayden Bogle. We're not looking at Eze or Eze, how he pronounced QPR attacking midfielder's name. We're not looking at those players. We're looking at people that have been in the Premier League, gone down, and nobody's wanted them because they're deemed not good enough. When you get relegated, the cream of the crop will always get purchased and brought back into the Premier League almost immediately. When they go down there, they might linger. A few clubs will look at them and say, well, let's just leave them until January or next summer. And if they don't go back in, that means they've not been good enough. They've looked at it and thought, actually, you are a Championship player. That's why Jack Butland's career's gone south since he got relegated. I guarantee you, people have been looking at him and scouting him, thinking, is that the guy we need in here? And they've all decided, no. They've decided, nah, that's not the guy. He's part of the reason Stoke went down. We're just looking at the wrong players. I have no problem. I would like us to go into the Championship and buy that young, upcoming talent, because there is plenty. But that's not who we're being linked with here. That is not who we're scouting or looking at on Championship highlights on Channel 5 or whenever it's on. But anyway, we're going to move on quickly because we've got the questions at the end of the video as always. Tonight I think we've had a record amount of questions sent in. Nearly 100 questions have been sent in, so we're just not going to get through them all, but we're going to do our best to get through plenty of them. So I'm going to skim through the transfer rumours without actually discussing it. We did our video last night, so that's pretty much still up to date, but the only two things that have changed is Randolph's medical is still ongoing. Jonathan Woodgate today commented that this is the longest medical he's ever known, and he's participated in a few himself. And then we had we put in a £7 million bid for Neil Etheridge, the Cardiff goalkeeper, which got rejected. Might not come as a surprise, because earlier in the transfer window, Aston Villa put in an £8 million bid for Neil Etheridge, and it got rejected as well. So we obviously thought we could bid £1 million less, and they've changed their mind. So Alan Stubbs has been lined up as a coach to join David Moyes' backroom staff. Lucas Fabianski had his scan earlier today, and the rumours are pretty strong. Rumours are that he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, and it's not as bad as the initial one. And Declan Rice has been scouted by Simon Wells, who is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's favourite scout. It's his main scout, his number one man. That's who he was at the Sheffield United game, apparently in the crowd watching Declan Rice. So we'll wait and see. They're heavily linked to Bruno Fernandes, two different types of players, granted. So we'll wait and see if there's more to come on that. Anyway, is there any other rumours or news you want to discuss before we get some question time?
No, mate. I think get the questions going, mate. There's loads of them.
Question time tends to cover them anyway, don't they? People.
It does, yeah.
They don't really ask about random. Well, some people do ask about random stuff, as we will find out as we go.
Well, I hope so. I do want a little random one about
I like
biscuits or foods in particular.
People in the live chat, we'll get to you once we've got a few from Twitter and YouTube earlier, and we'll get to the live chat. Darren on Twitter says, you can sign one realistic goalkeeper this month. Who do you sign?
Don't know enough of them, Geo, to be fair. I'm sorry, Darren, I don't. Crikey, I really don't. I don't know anything about goalkeepers, really. I couldn't tell you. Mate. We could have Adrian back, couldn't we?
It depends how ambitious you want to go. Do you want to go safe and just get a cheap one in that's going to tide you over? Or do you want to get someone in that can almost challenge Fabianski? Because I'm a bit concerned that Fabianski's had 2 injuries already, and he's at the age now where he's going to start picking them up a little bit. And I think we've got to go into next season at the very least. In the summer, we've got to get this sorted so that next season we go into almost handing over the gloves long term, because Fabianski's only got a year left after this season. And you have to assume that he won't be kept on. He might be. His performances certainly suggest he should be getting a new contract. I'm talking purely about his recent injuries. It's a bit of a concern. So the one player I would go for, I don't know if you could get him though, I don't know if he'd accept bench at West Ham, is Bentley from Bristol City. We've been linked with him for ages, when he was at Brentford and the likes. He's gone to Bristol City, he's still performing really well there. He's got plenty of experience now, that's the only difference. I'm a bit annoyed that we didn't get Danny Ward when he went to Leicester, but I seen him up here. He came on loan to Aberdeen from Liverpool for 6 months, and he was bloody good. But Leicester paid about 12 million. But that's the difference, isn't it? Leicester paid 12 million for their sub goalkeeper because they realised if Casper gets injured, we need somebody damn good to get in the sticks. So yeah, that's my one. Dan Bentley if possible, but it's going to cost money. Next question is still on Twitter. Is from Woody Alan at Hammers Fan Insurance Number.
Alan.
To what degree do you think In the Knows contribute to conflict between fans? There would always be speculation, but the fact this info is so reliable, it seems to lead to a lot of anger when potential deals move forward or collapse.
I don't think it's the In the Knows themselves, because I think if you don't like them, you can ignore them. I think you can not follow them. I think it's that's easy. I think it's the partisan nature. But this is today, by the way. This is just what happens today. I think the fact that people align themselves with one In the Know. This is my chosen In the Know. This is all the information I want, and it's only from this one, and anything coming from the other sources not to be believed. That in itself is tribalism. It absolutely is. So it is automatically going to cause conflict between one group and the other. I've got to say, though, I couldn't place that at the feet of In the Knows, by the way. I think that's just happening anyway. It's happening in the sporting spectrum. It's happening in the political spectrum. Crikey. I've even seen it today happen when people were... I've seen people get partisan about which stand-up comic they like on Twitter only today. Basically, one person was in one comic's corner, and it just seems people are divided now.
It's
people
Kevin
are divided.
Bridges, by the way.
Sorry?
The answer is Kevin Bridges.
It wasn't that. It was a
Ricky Gervais one. I know
it was a spat between Stuart Lee and Ricky Gervais. But it's what I've told you before. When we used to watch Spitting Image when we were younger, Spitting Image used to take the mickey out of everyone. And it didn't matter what political party, you'd laugh at them all. You'd laugh at Thatcher, you'd laugh at Kinnock, you'd laugh at all, because they're all ridiculous. They're all politicians. You didn't have a chosen comedian who, I'm going to choose this comedian because I like what he stands for politically. What a terrible way to choose your humour. But anyway, that's a different thing altogether. So I just think people are divided, Alan. I think it's gone the same way. This is my in the know, that's you're in the know, and my one's better than your one, and it just seems to be that way. I think, yes, does it cause conflict? Yes, but I think it happens anyway.
I think it. Not just between fans, I think sometimes fans unite behind what comes out from. I think it causes a conflict between the board and the fan base, actually, the in the know stuff, because Sean is seen as pro board, so when he does something, it's seen as a message from the board, and if it's not what the fan base like, people get pissed off about it because they assume what Sean has written or said is come direct from the boardroom, and sometimes it has, sometimes it hasn't, but it's very difficult to tell when it's an opinion, when it's actually information passed on. Can you leak this kind of thing? It's very difficult to tell. So I think that causes it. Same when X releases something, because he's so reliable that if the news comes out, and it might be something like, we turned down Fernandes, we could have had Fernandes, we decided not to pursue the deal. It could be something like that. I'm not saying X has said that. I'm just giving an example. People might get angry and say, oh, this board, cheap. Here they are again, doing it on the cheap. Why don't they want this guy? And I think it does create a lot of anger, because in the knows are reliable these days, that it's seen as truth. It's seen as what they say is true. And I think a lot of the stuff is just very unhelpful. It's when we go through a rough patch, the news comes out that we're looking at this manager, that manager, and we've still got a manager. And I just think that's not helping anyone. Sometimes stuff comes out and we hear about how that stuff came out just before Pellegrini got sacked, about how Mark Noble stopped the training session, picked the ball up because he didn't like what Pellegrini was doing in training. But why are we leaking that? Whoa. Just don't put that out. That's not helping anyone. It's not helping Noble. It's not helping Pellegrini. It's not helping the football club. It's not helping the fan base. It's just no one is reading. No one's winning from this. And I think sometimes that's what I don't agree with. I don't bother too much with what they put out. At the end of the day, they're getting their information from someone at the club. The person at the club is actually the source of information. They should be the ones that should be blamed. The end of those are just a filter as to what they release and what they don't release. But sometimes I think they release stuff that would be better off just kept secret a little bit. But I guess we're slightly hypocritical because we sit here and discuss it, but we never really leak anything because that's not our job. That's Sean and X's job. We just discuss what Sean and X leak. So you could argue that what they do benefits us because it's a domino effect. Clubs say something, they put something out, then we do a video about what they've just said.
Yeah, but people would argue, and they're more than welcome to, that we're bad for the club.
Yeah.
Look, constant news and constant talking about that and constant opinions is bad. A lot of people will wish for the old days where there was none, and I don't just mean us. I mean 24-hour sports news and talk radio, and people aren't back. Oh, it was better when you just used to go and watch the game and then have a chat with your mates down the pub, and so on and so on and so forth. I mean, obviously that's a wider implication and doesn't take into account all the people from overseas who use this as their connection with the club. But I'll tell you what, Gio, and we've said it before. I am glad we're not in the nose in that sense, because it does seem you do get a lot more stick for it. Do you know what I mean? You do. There's no doubt about it. People who release information get a far harder ride than we do sitting here.
It comes with the job, though. How often do we do a video and we say, you know what, we're going to get someone come at us, we're just going to have to deal with it. When you put yourself out there, you're going to have to deal with it. And when you do the in the know stuff, it just comes with the territory. You just have to put up with it. It's your choice. You don't have to do the in the know stuff. You can just close your account down tomorrow and never do it again. Sorted. But it just comes with it. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. But to answer Alan's question, does it cause conflict? Yes, I think it does, Alan. Next question. William Field at WillField71 on Twitter says, who would be your choice as a potential centre midfielder signing or two?
Well, realistic, I guess he's talking about. I really like someone, right? I really like someone. I've got to go here. I've got it all up here. Now, where's it gone? Now, who said it to me? You have to excuse me. Just give me 2 seconds, because it was suggested today, and it was by Smokey Jones suggested it to me, and he suggested it to me today. But I'd actually seen him tweet it the other day, and it's the geezer that plays for Toulouse. Oh, I think his name's Sangeri or something like
Yeah.
that. I had a look at him, right? I thought, wow, this geezer is good. He was very, very good, Geo. Almost had a lot of the attributes that we were looking at. But I would still go back to my other ones. I would still go back to Morgan Sanson or Cypria, who's another one in the French league of players I've been going on about for quite a while. But definitely, as I maintain, definitely someone that sits in the middle and moves around in the middle, not an attacking midfielder, not a wide player, central midfield.
Yeah, for this window, I don't know. It's difficult with tuppence to spend, and a loan deals is what you want. And you're not going to get a good player, are you? Well, you might, but you're going to have to pay over the odds because no one wants to sell a good players during the summer, during the season. Sorry, but for me, the summer it would be James Ward-Prowse. He's always had the potential. I've always thought he's never going to live up to it. A couple of years ago, I looked at him and thought, oh, jeez, what happened to that boy? You know, he can still whip in a set piece, but that's all he can do now. But under Hasenhüttl, he's becoming the complete centre midfielder. Every Southampton game I watch, he's running it. He's passing ball left to right. He's getting backwards. He's getting forwards. He's captain material, I think, as well for Southampton, and he's the best set piece taker in the Premier League. You get that guy in, he gets your assists and he gets your goals just from standing over free kicks and corners. He's someone I would like to pay big money for, and he's English as well, which is important. It shouldn't be, but it is because of the quota and stuff. It is important. So that's who, long term, short term, I've not got a clue in all honesty. Next question, Mark David. I think Gio said it after the Sheffield United match, but I would like Gonzo's opinion too. Did Friday night, the Sheffield United game, remind you why you wasn't so keen on David Moyes after his first stint at the club? It certainly reminded him why, the first shot on target in the 75th minute.
Not really. No, I didn't want David Moyes to return after Pellegrini. I'm sort of mindful that it's easy for me to say this stuff because actually the last few managers we have hired, I've said I don't want any of them. And I generally say that when someone gets brought up. These people are not my choices. I certainly didn't want Moyes to come back. Don't be confused at the point where he was appointed. I do hope for the best and I do wish him well. And I do feel the reasons that when we were talking about in the nose earlier and stuff and sort of what we do, I do feel an obligation to try and assess him fairly without the bias of what's happened before. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be open-minded. I'm trying to be open-minded with a formation. But I wouldn't say it reminded me of anything. And when Gio came back with a stat that we hadn't had a shot on target in the first half, when we discussed that in the review, there was nothing new there. I didn't suddenly have an epiphany or a realization, or my memory then went back. This is exactly what I expect to happen, particularly away from home. This is what you get with David Moyes. He's not been brought in blind to me, and the owners have certainly not brought him in blind. Everybody knows exactly what they're getting with David Moyes. The only gamble here, is whether that is going to keep us up. That's the only gamble. There's no surprise there.
Yeah, I got a reminder. I'm not saying it was a surprise. So the question was it a surprise? Was it a reminder? And for me, it wasn't. And it wasn't about the shot on target, really. It was about him just dithering with his substitutions and not changing the tactics for too long. As soon as it went 1-0 down, that was time. We needed some action. He just stood there watching. You had Fornals on the bench as well. You think, come on then, do something. He just waited and waited and waited, and I thought, oh no, this is. I remember now. I remember numerous games at home, especially standing there in the crowd watching, drawing a game, a decent player on the bench just not working. You're just watching, going, well, come on then, Dave. The other manager's making substitutions. The other manager's switching tactics around. Their team's getting on top, and you're still standing there going, come on, Dave. I think it's because I remember the game. I can't remember who it was against. I want to say it was Everton for some reason, but I'm not sure. Antonio was injured, but he was on the Billy Bonds side of the pitch, right? So he was on the opposite side to David Moyes. He was going around holding his leg or whatever. He went down, got the physio on, got up, and he was still limping around. He was either injured or knackered or both, right? And then there was a West Ham sub, and Antonio started walking over, but it wasn't Antonio that come off. And you could see all the crowd going, "Come on, Dave, he's not right. Look, he's." And about 5 minutes later, Antonio went over to David Moyes and lay down in front of him on the pitch, like. Just saying, like, hello, I am injured, and I just remembered that. That reminded me. Friday reminded me of that. Anyway, on to YouTube questions out in the community a bit. Brian Pattinson, would you have Chicharito back? He's in talks with LA Galaxy, according to Sky, and he's still only 31 years old.
No, absolutely not. I've seen what David Moyes does with Chicharito. He doesn't play him, and when he does, he brings him on quite late as sub if we're lucky. Just don't see any point in bringing Chicharito back. Good luck to him. I think he might do really well over there, actually.
Yeah,
so
I think that's the right move for him as well. It's not for me either. He's an expensive substitution as well. He'd still be on his $100,000 a week or something. I don't think he'd want to come back to West Ham. I think he was relieved to get out of the club, to be honest with you. Ben F 22. Do either of you ever play poker? I'd imagine Geo would enjoy it.
I don't know the rules, mate. To be fair, Ben, I really don't. I don't full house or royal flush or whatever. I don't honestly. I honestly don't know the rules, and I think that's probably it's probably for the best. But not a lot of people know this. I used to be a card magician, so I didn't used to be allowed inside casinos years ago. No, there you go.
I don't mind a bit of poker as long as she returns the favour. Whee!
That's a red hot joke.
I don't play it. I've never played it in my life, and it's not something I really want to get into. The casino game thing is not for me. I've steered well clear of that. It's not a spiral I want to try and get myself down. But if you know how you play it, something that looks cool though. I think it looks cool. I think it's cool if you know how you play poker.
You have to face it. You got to poker face and all that. But, yeah,
but it's not necessarily that though. I'm just talking about the ability to play poker. I think it's a cool. I might learn now because of Ben.
I think you don't want to give it away, do you? So, for instance, when I play chess, if I, like sometimes when you play chess, you can tell 3 or 4 moves ahead that you're going to win. I start to giggle, and I sort of give it away. And my mate Pete got really upset once because he said, "Why are you laughing? What are you laughing?" To be fair, we had a couple of beers. I kept on really giggling. I said, "Because you're in about 3 moves, you're gonna lose, mate." And I just couldn't stop. He went, "Oh, well, maybe not." But he just stopped laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. So anyway, he got really upset about it, and I did win in 3 moves, but I realised then I don't have a poker face.
Proper geeky playing chess. And do you know how I just said poker's cool? I think chess is like at the other end of the spectrum kind of thing.
I am at the other end of the spectrum, definitely. Yeah,
you just let yourself down there, actually. James Beasley, Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
Not mad on any of it. Probably Coca-Cola, but if I do have it, and I'd like it ice with a slice of lemon.
It's cherry Coca-Cola for me. I do like the cherry one. I like that one. For me, question number 2. Oh, I've not increased this one. I've got to squint to see this. Sorry to the viewers at home, they're struggling to read this as well. Do you think Jack Sullivan would do a better job than his dad? I feel like he gets a club more than his dad, and that's from Will Harris.
Yes, because I think he's more. I think he's probably. I mean, it pains me to say this, but I think he's probably more savvy than his dad. I think his dad sometimes is just oblivious to everything's going on. I think Jack, because of I mean, it's a long time since Jack Sullivan was on social media doing all that childish stuff. I do mean a long time. People still bring it up now, and I think, well, actually, I don't think he's probably done one of them tweets in 3 years or anything like that. So but I still think he watches it. So I think he's savvy enough to have his finger on the pulse of what's going on with the club, and he's probably more steeped in the modern game. That doesn't mean I want them being director of football or going. But the question was, do I think he'd? I do think he'd do a better job running the club, being at the top. Yeah, I do.
I think so as well. Obviously not today, but I think Jack's characteristics are better suited than what his dad's are. I think Jack cares more about the fan base. I strongly 100% believe that. I think Jack's more open to modern day culture around football, if you like, in the sense of how to scout a player, rather than picking someone that I think Jack was more happy to put into context. Jack, when he became director of West Ham Women, the first thing he did was go get a general manager. And now I don't mean the manager of the team, that's separate. He went and got someone to basically run the club for him, so Jack could sit behind that person and go, well, how do you run a club? Let me just watch you. Someone that knows the women's game. He went and got them in. It's the first thing he'd done. So you have to assume and you have to hope that if he was to ever become the chairman, he would do the same thing. I'm going to go get someone in that knows what they're doing in terms of scouting, because If he does good, I look good. I get the credit for employing him, essentially. You know, when West Ham Women got to the FA Cup final, the two people who got the most plaudits was Matt Beard and Jack Sullivan. And Jack done. Jack's done a lot, but the best thing he'd done was employ someone below him, above Matt, that knew what they were doing. So I think Jack could be a football chairman one day. I will put money on it now. It might not be West Ham. They might sell up. But I think if they sell up, I do think Jack Sullivan will own. He might start off with a championship club or something. I don't know. But I do think he will be a football chairman one day, Jack Sullivan. That's my prediction anyway. Fraser Prophet says, given our nightmare of fixtures coming up, do you think we will save ourselves from the drop? And if so, how?
Possibly. I know that you want a definitive answer. I don't have one, unfortunately. Bournemouth look absolutely terrible, don't they? Norwich look absolutely terrible. Can we find one additional bit of prey, one more victim, is somebody that's even more crap than we are? Not exactly next level, of course. Can we find a team that's worse than us? It might be Aston Villa. They've got serious injuries at the moment. If I had to put a fiver on it, as is one of my favourite terms, I would suspect that we do stay up. I also think that there is enough promise in what Moyes has shown, and I do mean look, when Moyes came last time, Moyes did something. He had his deployment of Arnautovic and Lanzini near him and close to him. He sort of repositioned Lanzini, and I thought it was pivotal. He seems to be doing a similar thing this time, and in particular with Felipe Anderson. I think we can probably score goals, and that's always going to be something that's going to hinder anyone staying up. Maybe Villa can't, maybe Bournemouth can't, maybe Norwich. Norwich got Poochie, but I don't think they can keep enough clean sheets. I think we can probably keep enough clean sheets and nick enough goals to stay up, would be my hunch. But I don't think you're going to see a lot of glory along the way.
I think we'll stay up. I think I watched Bournemouth at the weekend. They're just awful. They're headed in one direction. That's to the Championship. They've just got nothing about them at all. They can't defend. They can't attack. They don't want to defend. They don't want to attack. There's just nothing there. They're an embarrassment, that side. The amount of money they've spent, how it's producing at Bournemouth, injuries or not, is a shambles. Norwich are just... They're just not good enough. They've just not got the players, unfortunately. I think the manager, Farke, is quite good. I think they've got some okay players in there, some that will stay in the Premier League. But I think if they were to get when they get relegated, I think only 3 players will get bought by Premier League clubs. I think that's it. I think the rest of the squad will remain in Championship at Norwich City next season. And then it's a bit of a battle. Villa look the contenders at the minute. Like you said, their injuries. They've just gone and got Pepe Reina. It's just been confirmed before we went live. Pepe Reina has gone to Villa on loan to cover for Heaton. McGinn's probably only got another couple of months to go. But that's a long time to go. They've switched their formation a little bit. It worked for a game or two, but they just got slapped by City, which was good for us. That goal difference, a -5 goal difference, is good for West Ham, watching Villa get slapped. Then you look at the rest, and I'll tell you something that's not been mentioned actually enough, is Burnley. They are horrendously falling down that table as well. They got beat at home to Aston Villa a couple of weeks ago. They're sinking badly. So we can stay above one of them. Brighton are just outside the relegation zone too. We play them in 2 or 3 weeks at home as well. If we beat Everton and Brighton, I'm not saying we'll be safe, but I'll say we'll be on our way to... We'll be pushing Brighton down in there, so you fight it, we're off. But we do have a really tough run of fixtures coming up, and we have to win Everton and Brighton. They're massive. Right, we'll take some questions from live chat. I've got plenty more questions from Twitter and YouTube, but I want to interact with the live chat because we can answer those questions in another video. We have to. Can't interact with the live chat in another video, can we? So Armo said, I'll clock this one, I've memorised it. Armo said, who's been the most disappointing player this season? I like that question. Get thinking.
Armo, I believe... Well, they've got to have played. There's no point saying Jack Wilshere, is it? I think. So let's say somebody that's played and not done particularly well. Always, I mean, there's many. You could maybe pick Lanzini. You could maybe pick Diop because they've not had the impact there. You could possibly say Sebastian Haller because 45 million. And but that being said, I think he's still a top goal scorer, isn't he, Haller? top goal
Yeah,
scorer.
but that's
Yeah.
not difficult, is it? Who's our second? Our second top goal scorer is Antonio with a handful. I think Mark Noble must be our third top goal scorer. You know.
No, whatever. Anyway, I don't think I might go. It could possibly be someone like. It's easy to pick Roberto, isn't it? So let's not even do that. Maybe someone like Yarmolenko, quite possibly. That's been disappointing that he came in, looked good for a couple of games, then just looked like he was running through treacle and then got injured. That's been quite disappointing, I think, in particular. But yeah, maybe Lanzini, because I do think he is our best player and has the capacity to be our best player, and he's fallen woefully short, hasn't he?
I'm going to say Sebastian Aller. I expected him to be massive. You know, well, he is massive, isn't he? But I was expecting him to, at this stage of the season, be linked with top 4 clubs. I was hoping that now there'd be Man United fans, Spurs fans, whatever, saying, why did we not go get that guy? And we're not there yet. I do think it'll come. He's clearly a talented striker. That's why I'm most disappointed about it, because I know he's a talented striker. Charlie says, what's the best chocolate bar?
Well, go on, you say first.
Lion
first.
Bar, easy. The daddy.
Oh, it may well be. It's either a Galaxy, a straight up Galaxy, or a Cadbury's whole nut.
Interesting. There's a lot of people asking about the protest in the live chat. I didn't really have it as a topic as such. People just.
Well, I'd like to answer it because I get asked a lot in DMs and on Twitter and all the rest of it.
So just what's your thoughts on the protest and such, like worded differently for a lot of people?
Okay, right. Okay, firstly, I do just want to nail this. I know I said it in a separate video on the forum channel. I want to nail it now because people keep asking what the Hammers Chat think. Hammers Chat don't think anything. Okay, Hammers Chat is a community of different people who all have their own ideas, who all have their own opinions. You've only got to watch his cup of tea to realise myself and Geo could look at a player and think, you know, very, very differently or whatever. That's Hammers Chat for you. I wouldn't claim to speak for Geo, wouldn't claim to speak for Mike, wouldn't claim to speak for Charlie, wouldn't claim to speak for anyone on the forum. Hammers United have a platform from the moment they started on the forum. They've had their own thread. They are welcome to post up there and post whatever they want. I am completely aligned with a lot of what they believe as well. I mean, I am unhappy with the owners. A lot of it. That being said, I'm not going to protest. We have our. I'm not going to hide behind this either, because I'm going to give you a straight answer here. We have our CPR. For those of you that don't know, that somebody had a cardiac arrest on the boats. Okay, and it was very, very sad. And a week later, they passed away. And as a result of that, you know, we've raised some money to get a defibrillator on the boat. Geo has worked his butt off alongside Emily to get some CPR training for anybody that wants to do it. And we had planned this long before this protest was planned, because I keep getting asked. What we are doing is we are training and doing our CPR training at the boats. Now, Geo said, yes, it's perfectly possible to go to the protest and come and do the CPR training. Well, not for us, it's not, because, you know, we're running the boats, it's our event, and we're there. And quite frankly, I've got to say, after what happened with Danny on the boat, it's actually far more important to me to do that CPR training than it is to go and protest about the board. Do I want things to be better? Yes. Do I think the board have failed? Yes. Would I like somebody to come out and buy the club? Yes, absolutely. Do I think it's a farce that we've got no scouts? Yes, but I get to articulate this on a daily basis. Literally a daily basis. I gob off, and I tell you what, half the time each week I'm moaning about the board. So the protest is not for me on this one. And quite frankly, I don't want to hide just behind the CPR. So even if I wasn't doing the CPR, I'd be going and going and popping and seeing John on the food bank. And that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, the CPR thing's just, I don't want to say unfortunate, but it is an unfortunate clash for us, but we've had this plan before Christmas. I ain't changing the date because of the protests and stuff, but it is possible to do both. But like Gonzo said, our CPR lasts until 1:30. We can't just duck off at 1 and be like, right, see you later, enjoy the CPR, we're off skis and stuff. To be honest, I've got a bit of concern over it a little bit. I think Hammers United have done everything right. I think they've been very professional. I've been very impressed from watching afar with what Paul and Bubbles has been doing and stuff. I've been very impressed. They've kept it professional and stuff. I've just been a bit disappointed when push come to shove and it's like, right, we're doing a protest. It was just the reasoning behind it. I felt it was a bit almost like we'll announce the protest and then we'll come up with the reason for doing it, whereas I think it should be the other way around a little bit. I think you should have a reason for wanting to protest, and then they've sort of gone along with the 10-point pledge, but I think that's far too subjective because, you know, Gonzo done a video the other day about the 10-point pledge you've done, but my answers and his answers are different, and you guys watching this, I'll have a different answer to Gonzo, you have a different answer to me on all of them. It's far too subjective. I just don't think it's a concrete thing to protest for. Now I know it's going to be a case of, well, if you're unhappy, come and protest, and I appreciate that, but at the same time it's not easy for me and Gonzo, for Nicky, Ryan at West Ham TV and stuff, because as soon as Gonzo done a video, we got a message on Instagram, which we don't even use, saying about how something like, don't plan a protest. What did it say? Don't plan a protest.
Take it seriously. Why are you two planning a protest? Why are you trying to split the fan base?
Take this threat seriously.
Take this threat serious. Yeah, he didn't say seriously. He said serious. So take this threat serious.
I replied to him and said, we are not planning anything. Get your facts right. And he read it and didn't reply. But the point is, it's when you do stuff like this, it becomes far too. You become a bit of a target almost in a way. I understand why people want to protest. A lot of my friends are going to the protest and I support them in a way. And it is tempting. I'm not going to lie, it's tempting to go along as well. And if Gonzo's saying he wouldn't have gone if there wasn't CPR, if there wasn't CPR, I probably would have went. I'd probably go. I probably would, because I'm unhappy with the regime. I wouldn't be protesting for the 10-point pledge though. And this is where it gets a bit confusing, because what are you protesting for? Well, I'd be there to protest for change, for taking the club seriously, I guess. We're making changes so that we can move forward, so we can get what we were promised essentially at the end of the day. Now, I don't want what we were promised to the letter, world class team, world class squad. I accept that ain't going to happen, but can we not have a competent squad in a half decent stadium almost? If we can get that, I'll be happy. Now, Gonzo's video tomorrow actually ties in with my reason for protesting, because that thing that you're doing tomorrow made me think a little bit, and I thought if I could have two of those options, I'd be very, very happy. The options I would choose, I'd be very, very happy, and I wouldn't be protesting. But my point is, I don't have those two options. No one does, and that's why people are going. My other concern, a couple of people have asked this question as well, and so I'll answer it. It was something like, are you worried the protest will carry on into the stadium? Now, Hammers United, again, have been very articulate about this. Their statement they put out this evening is very well worded, and they've worked in liaison not only with the police, but they've done it with the park ownership as well, which is separate. So they've got their own little allocation for the protest on Saturday, which is beside it's not far, it's behind the orbital kind of thing on the pathway there. There's a map on their website, and in it basically says, you know, banners are allowed but nothing overly offensive. Chanting is allowed but nothing overly offensive. I get it, they're towing the party line. I think it's good that they're doing that. I think that it's good that it's well policed, well behaved, because the last thing they need is, they only get one shot at this. You get one shot, and if anything goes wrong, that's it. You go to the police, you go to and say, can we have another one? Well, they'd have to, but you go to the park, they'll say, no, you're not getting on our land, piss off, go do it somewhere else, go do it on the public road if you have to. So they only get one go, they're doing it right. But also on it said, any banners that are sort of anti-board are not allowed in the stadium. And if you take them in the stadium, they'll be taken off you and you will be ejected. I thought, hang on a minute, this is where it gets a little bit controlling freedom of speech to an extent. And I think it does show, a lot of people say the owners don't care. I think that shows that the owners do care, that at least someone at the club is rattled a little bit if they're already sort of putting in rules in place. That searches are going to take forever on Saturday, by the way. Do you know when you go to get your bag searched? And
100%.
They're going to take ages, because they don't want any stuff to come in. They don't. My worry is, and this is not a reflection on my thoughts of Hammers United, let me that be clear. My worry is we start getting beat against Everton, because people will be adrenaline is going, aren't they? You're all worked up, you've had an hour of singing Get Out the Club, whatever it is, you're walking away happy, proud of the fan base, if you like. And all it takes is one man, or woman, all it takes is one person in that stadium to do something on Saturday, and there's a domino effect. The Burnley thing was started by one guy running on the pitch. As soon as he'd done it, that was it. It encouraged everyone else. Off they went. Other people went on. Everyone went over to the board. My worry is that happens again on Saturday. Although it's not planned.
My point on the Burnley one would be, I think that Burnley pitch invasion was because there wasn't a protest rather than because there was. I think everybody had been built up, pent up. People had been encouraged. Actually, the opposite, had been encouraged to make flags. People had spent on it. I could show you emails from people that had booked travel from Weston-super-Mare and Great Yarmouth and all these different places, right? Who hadn't even come to games, but they'd booked to come to that previous March. I know somebody that spent £200 on a flag, big old flag, and literally had the rug pulled out from underneath them. So what you had was loads of people all drummed up, and people had deposited money and all the rest of it. Then all of a sudden they were told there was no march. And because there was no march, they hadn't had that hour before to vent their frustrations. They've hold on, where's our march? Where's our protest? We've been promised a protest, promised it. And I think that's why, not just running on the pitch, all that stuff underneath the director's box. I do think this does give people an opportunity to get their, to get their frustrations out. And maybe if they get their frustrations out, I don't think that will carry into the stadium in the same way that it did before, because they didn't have any vent before.
Yeah. Last point I'll make before we move on. I know I speak for Gonzo on this, by the way. I'm comfortable to say that, and I speak for Charlie as well, and everyone that is not employed by Hamish Chat, everyone that sort of does stuff for Hamish Chat. That is, it's okay to protest. You want to protest, go protest. It's also okay not to protest. If you don't want to protest, don't go protest. Also, just try not to judge people for doing the opposite of what you do. If you don't think there should be a protest, try not to have a go at those that want to protest. If you want to protest, try not to have a go at the people that don't want to, because this goes back to the conflict within the nose. I think sometimes this protest stuff brings about that conflict and anger on social media. It'd be like, what are you doing on Saturday? Well, I'm not protesting. Why not? Well, because the person doesn't want to, just like you might want to. It's vice versa. Just respect each other's opinions and what they wish to do, and that's the most important thing. Do what you want on Saturday. Do what you believe in, and it all is good. But good luck to Hamish United. I hope they get what they are looking for. Back onto the questions. Jazza, how do we purchase foreign fullbacks when our current fullbacks are English? Bear in mind the homegrown quota and such like. A very good question. I like that one.
Maybe we can't. In which case, maybe we've got to sell off. If you particularly wanted a foreign fullback, I guess the easy answer is buy British fullbacks, by the way. But if you definitely wanted a foreign one, then you've got to lose a foreign player from elsewhere and then replace him. So you've got to lose a foreign striker and replace him with an English striker, and any free up a place you could buy the foreign fullback. So you lose a Jetty and you bring in, pick your geezer, Danny Ings or whatever. I know we can't get him, I know that, but and then that's what you do. You sell Ryan Fredericks and you bring in Maffeo from what's his name from Stuttgart. That would be the only way to do it.
Can you admit I was right on Danny Ings yet? Can you?
Sorry, Jay, I'm having terrible interference.
I'll happily shout for this one. I don't mind. I'll happily shout. Can you admit I was correct about Danny Ings yet? Remember when you said you've got?
I'm sorry, Gio.
Do you remember when you said you've got a shit poker face? I agree. I would just like to add. As for this question, I think this is a damn good question. But I think this is where you pad your squad. You know your squad players like Snodgrass, although Snodgrass isn't actually homegrown, but you know what I mean. The players are going to play some games this season, but they're also happy to be on the bench because of age or whatever. I think that's where you pad your homegrown players out with. That's why Man City always go get a third keeper, like Scott Carson, that is English, that's just never going to play a game. You pad them out. You go get cheap English or homegrown players in to fill the squad out a little bit. But we've also got like Declan Rice is homegrown now. He'll have to be registered next season because of his age and stuff. So that's one of your players done. So I think that's how you do it. You just have to do it cleverly. That's why I think it's quite clever we're looking at Randolph and Etheridge as our goalkeeper, because they are homegrown. I think that, okay, I see what you're doing here. I see you're thinking. Him and David Martin, that's 2 of your homegrown. You add in Declan Rice next season, you've got 3. Aaron Creswell's going to stick around. As much as I want an extra a left back, I want Creswell to be the second left back. Let me make that clear. So how do you replace your foreign left back? You only sell Masuaku, the current foreign left back. How do you replace your... How do you get in a foreign right back? You get rid of Pablo Zabaleta, the current foreign right back. So I think that sorts itself out. But it was a good question. I like where Jazz is coming from there. Eric, price for Yarmolenko. We discussed the loan move last night. I didn't like it. You were all for it. But if we were to sell him, what price?
I think you'd be lucky to get 5 to 10 million for him. He's injury prone. He is. A lot of people forget this. He spent the last year at Dortmund injured as well. Basically, if you count this as his 3rd season, so a year at Dortmund, 1st year with us, now 3rd season, he's been injured for most of it. Pretty much most of it. I mean, you're struggling to get double-figure games out of him. We've got an injury-prone player, and it's not just that. He looks injured when he runs as well.
That's just how he
runs. Does. So, well, maybe just got a waddle. You've got to take into account that people are going to weigh up his wages as well. People are going to look at him thinking we're doing you a favour by taking him on because he's won big wages. So, I don't think you'll look back on it and see it as a successful signing. You could get 5 to 10 million for him and get rid of the wages. Then you'd have to say that's a good deal. I mean, I think we spent 17 on him. I think it was 17 that he cost, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Got to cut your losses sometimes.
Yeah, I think a Hugo minus 1 million is a good price.
I've got a question.
Oh.
Do you think David Moyes will recall Jordan Hugo if he can't find a striker he wants?
He's homegrown, isn't he? We've got space for it.
Yeah.
The thing is, I wouldn't be against it. Like, he's confident. He's coming in. When we signed him from Preston, he wasn't even scoring for Preston, was he? Right. But at least he's scoring for QPR this season. At least he's getting a bit of goals. I'm surprised we've not tried to sell him to QPR, in all honesty. I'm very surprised we've not gone to them and said, do you want him for 5 million this window? You wait till the summer, he's 10 million. But if you get him now, you get him cheap.
They can't though, can they? Because Tony Fernandez is in charge of QPR. They hate each other. The Sullivan Gold and Fernandez hate. There will be no business between those. You'd imagine.
Well, we'll just add QPR to the long list of
big exchange of money. Yeah, well, they hate each other.
The list of clubs that don't want to deal with us in England continues to grow, doesn't it? Leicester, Spurs, QPR.
But that's because he bid for us. He's missed out twice. He was in. Gold and Sullivan like to say we were the only investors in town when they took us over. They weren't. There were 3. There was that group, whatever they called, Interstellar Group or something like that. Then there was Tony Fernandez. And then there was Gold and Sullivan. Gold and Sullivan won out. They bought 50% of the shares, didn't they, for 50 million? They won out that. Then afterwards, he tried to buy them out again for just what they'd paid. So he's tried to buy it, but they went public. They basically went public with his deal, which was they do not like each other at all. They both had not very pleasant things to say about one another. So I can't see any money exchanging hands.
Baron says, who's got the best haircut in the current West Ham squad, including loanees? It's not Declan Rice, is it? As much as I like Declan,
he looks a bit dishevelled in the interview afterwards.
I was going to say on the review, I forgot to say it. I said he's a bit like me. Clearly, over the festive period, he can't be arsed going for a haircut because I really need a haircut as well. And Declan definitely needs a haircut. It was all bushy, wasn't it? It was all really long.
I think Ajeti has got quite a whole. He's got to have something going for him.
Do you know what he looks like?
Yeah.
I don't know what he looks like, honestly.
He's a white bloke with a side part in dark hair. Yarmolenko has not got a bad hairstyle. I liked Antonio's when he had the old braids in. When he had the old cornrows, that was pretty cool, but he's not got that anymore.
Remember when Andy Carroll had him?
Yeah.
He looked like the guy. Do you remember?
A guy. He didn't look like a guy. He looked like a girl.
But you remember? No, but remember when you used to get Grand Theft Auto for the first time, like San Andreas? You'd have your white man. You'd go into the barber and be like, "Yeah, I'll just have those, please, mate." That's what it was like. It was like GTA. I got a flashback when Carol came out with those things. I thought I was watching Grand Theft Auto. The only difference was in Grand Theft Auto you do some shooting.
I always put a massive moustache on any of my characters on any games. They always have a massive moustache. My mate Spencer always says everyone looks like the geezer from Motorhead that I create. Lemmy.
Do you know who I'm going to say? I think it's obvious if you think about it. I've kind of got to pick one player in particular. I'm kind of forced to. I'll give you a clue. You're not looking in the right direction. Hang on.
I'm thinking. Oh, him behind you.
No. What? He doesn't play for West Ham.
I thought you meant Noble.
Oh, people can't see that. People can't see Noble. No, it's not Noble. Alan Creswell. Creswell used to have a similar haircut to me.
He's got good hair. His hairline comes really far forward.
Yeah, he's done all right, isn't he? He's aged quite well. I used to have it like that. Mine's receding a little bit. But Alan Creswell for me, our haircuts.
I've been looking at the old hair studios myself actually.
For what?
But I'm thinking I might get a pinball machine or a penis enlargement instead.
Maybe get both.
Maybe. What fun!
Spoil yourself.
More fun! I'll just go bald. Big old chopper. Nice new pinball machine.
Not like Zabaleta.
Happy place. Sorry.
Like Zabaleta.
But I don't know if he's got a pinball machine or a big chopper.
I don't know about the pinball machine, but I think he's got everything else.
Fair enough. Good for him.
Apparently.
Good for him. Give him another year's contract.
The Eric says, when will the Hamish Chat tea mug be available in store? We don't know, truth be told. We're working on it. We've got two designs are with the supplier waiting to be mocked up, and there's another couple due to her. Have you done the other one yet?
I am just waiting
for the artwork.
Them. I basically, the images are big. I need to shrink them down to 9 centimetres. Not talking about the chopper again. I need to shrink them down to 9 centimetres. So I'm having some. I'll bore you senseless. I need to vector the artwork, then shrink it, and I'm having a little bit of trouble. It's not me. I'm all right. It's your image.
You just made chess sound exciting there. Let me just get that guy's name. Sorry for that guy. Clayton, do we need a first choice keeper due to Fabianski's reoccurring injury? I've already answered that, but what do you think?
No, because I don't think we'll get one for peanuts, basically. If we got one bit of money, one chunk of money, I want it spent on central midfield. I think Fabianski is back in 2 weeks. I also think we keep dancing around the issue and not recalling Trott or putting a Nang in. I think we have lots of goalkeepers, and I want Fabianski to be our first choice goalkeeper.
Garino says, who would you be willing to sacrifice in order to fund new players? Who would you sell? Sacrifice sounds like kill, doesn't it? But
right, I was going to say that's a bit harsh. I don't really want anyone that much. I'm
not
sure I would sacrifice him. I'm not willing to do time, so as to get a new. That's too much. I don't support West Ham that much. I would do 25 years stretch. Well, it feels like a lot longer than that stretch.
Anyone that's supported Birmingham and then West Ham for the last 10 years has done a 25-year stretch.
Yeah. I tell you, wouldn't you be gutted if you supported Birmingham and then you switched allegiances? So, do you know what? I've had enough of this because Golden Sullivan in charge. I'm going to go and support West Ham instead. And then a week later, don't! They've taken over West Ham.
You'd go back, wouldn't you? I'm back to the bullring. Fuck this.
Well, you would. You'd go back and then you'd find out that actually your owner's been in prison for embezzlement. Oh my goodness, sorry, what are we talking about?
Who would you sell?
Who would you
sell? Yeah, you had to raise a bit of cash. Masuaku for me, easy.
Yeah, why not? Let's sell Arthur. Yeah, go on. Off you go.
Masuaku, Yarmolenko.
Yeah, I didn't say Yarmolenko. I just don't think we get any money for.
That's probably it. To be honest,
I do think you get 10 to 15 million for Masuaku.
Yeah, I think so. Adjeti is no point selling him. Lanzini's, while I'd be open to sell, I'm open to selling anyone except Rice and Fabianski essentially. But I'm just thinking about value. Lanzini's value is at an all-time low. There's no point flogging him for 20 million when if he can stay fit and Moyes can get the best out of him, which we're seeing. He's 40 million in the summer. I would rather take the risk. Thomas, what's the best thing to come out of Scotland?
Oh, that's a really good question. That is a really, really,
Fuck off then.
a really good question. I don't like Iron Brew. I quite like shortbread. I'm not mad on whiskey. Irish whiskey is better than the. I'm joking. Actually, I'm not. That's a tough one. Venison.
I'm going to say the television, invented by John Logie Baird, Scotsman. Don't ask how I retained that information. I don't know, and I kind of researched it before because there was a question in the live chat from Thomas there.
Graham Alexander Bell did the telephone, right?
He did.
Is he Scottish
He was,
as well?
Yeah.
Okay,
You were pretty
What's happened? What's happened to you? Like you had it all.
well. We had the television and the TV. Didn't realise very much it.
Phone each other up. Have you seen what's on telly? I have. I'm all right. What's a cracking show?
Taggart, hi.
Hey, because we've fallen down in England. No, they don't have tellies or phones.
Did you watch the new Scottish drama? It's on Channel 4 on Friday night, Dead Waterfall. With Dave Tennant. It was quite good, yeah. Tip for you. Donna would like it.
She's dubred it, you know.
Recorded it.
Well, yeah, site bookmark, whatever they do, yeah.
Mrs. Gonzo would enjoy it. She would enjoy Dead Waterfall, so that was a good one. Eric says, can you comment on Patreon videos? Yes, you can, Eric. You can comment on YouTube or in Patreon, either or, and they're both getting read, and they're both getting
commented on,
replied to. More people are replying on Patreon, actually. There's a little community building in there from our Patreon people. They're getting a bit snobby. They're turning away from YouTube. They're going over to Patreon. Chucked in a few dollars a month, and they think they're above everyone else, don't they? I mean, they're not wrong. I'm joking.
I've moved from the Lynx to the Bayliss and Harding. Do you know what I mean? I'm on the good stuff now.
Right, we'll take a few more, then we're going to have to wrap this up. But I'm going to keep the questions, and we might do another video later this week answering the other questions. Jeffrey, I like that one. Jeffrey says, how many sheep does it take to produce a Scottish drama? It's a good question. Probably more of a Welsh question, but.
How many sheep does it tell? I thought it was a joke. I'm looking for the punchline.
No, I think it was a joking question. You know, I think he's seen it. We could come up with a punchline.
Barely any.
That was quite good. I'll give you that one. Clayton, would you play for Niles next to Rice instead of Mark Noble?
Yes, Clayton. Yes.
100%. I think only in some games I wouldn't play him in the more. I wouldn't play him against Burnley, for example, where he's going to get kicked around. I wouldn't play. But saying that, he doesn't shy away from a bit of argy-bargy. I mean, Fernandes doesn't mind it. He's quite. Come on, man. What are you going to do about it? He's taller than he looks as well. Do you know when you see him on TV?
He's as tall as he actually is.
No.
He doesn't look 5'6" and actually he's 7 foot.
No, some people on TV or pictures, they look quite skinny. They look quite short. But in real life, when you see him, whenever I see him in real life, I always think, bloody hell, he's taller than I expected. Okay, maybe that's how I want to phrase it. He's taller than I expected in real life. All right, he is. He's taller. We'll have a look on Saturday if he gets on the pitch before the 83rd minute.
Saturday, we're miles away. We're miles away. Everybody is much smaller than expected in the London Stadium.
That's very true. Well, I don't know. Next time you're in a away game, have a little look. I will. Just quite a few questions. Jazza, what's the definition of a salad? Something your rabbit would eat, but I wouldn't.
Jazza's had 2 questions. How's he getting through? I thought you said we had 20 moderators. I thought you said Andy was moderator.
He's there.
And Charlie is there. And Ray
left.
is there. And is Mike in?
Mike came, but I think he left. Charlie left. We've obviously bored them. But Andy and Ray, fair play to them, they're still here an hour and 8 minutes later.
Okay, salads. Let's get the thing about salads, right? I'm not interested in all that other stuff. You take the lettuce, right? You take the lettuce, you take the tomato, you put it in your bacon sarnie, you make a BLT. That's what salad's for. Radish? Why do people eat radishes? Radish? No.
Do you know something?
Spring onions? What's that about?
I I don't eat any salad. None. Nada. Nil. None of it. Not one thing could you say, this salad. The answer is no.
Not even in a chicken burger. You wouldn't have some lettuce in a chicken burger.
No. When I go into Maccadees with Charlie after the game on Saturdays at lunch stadium, got to go to that self-service machine, customised burger, remove my gherkins, remove that bit of lettuce, remove a bit of this.
You're touching it. I would never touch one of those machines. Not without some antibacterial stuff on my hands. There must be E. coli and all sorts of people scratching their arse and then picking their dinner on the thing.
Okay.
Oh, so mate, I do not touch those machines.
How do you get into the shop?
How do I get... mate, you ain't see. You clearly haven't travelled around with me. Mate, I go through door handles like that. I am frigging OCD as you like, mate.
That's why you've been ill for so long. Do you know how you've had this cold for about a month? That's why you need bad bacteria.
Oh no! You can shove your bad bacteria up your arse. That's why.
Maybe you should get.
That's exactly what people have to do.
Maybe you should get some bad bacteria up your arse, because then you may be a bit healthier. Your immune system will build up a little bit. You ain't got no immune system because you're poncy, little pansy.
I am poncy. You know, like when you get the screen, you have to touch it. I do use it, but I don't touch it with my finger. I touch it with a knuckle.
Why?
Why? Because I don't want to catch everyone's frigging germs.
But then you go pick up a tray, trusting that they've
I
cleaned
don't pick
it.
up a tray. I've got a whole system for everything. I'll tell you, I don't want to be touching something where someone's been touching their dinkle.
So how do you get it delivered to you?
Get what delivered to me?
But the food that you've just ordered.
Well, the old girl passes it, or boy, sorry, or gender neutral person passes it through the hatch, don't they? And I take it and they wash their hands before they roll the top of the bag up. Pass it through the hatch.
Nah, so you only do self-service as well? This is a drive-through, people. Oh, you're freezing up on me here. We've done so well. We've done so well to get this far without Gonzo freezing up on me. Maybe it's a sign. He'll come back in a second, then we'll wrap this one. I just want to say a massive thank you to Doug. Doug has just donated £5 to the super chat and said, finally someone who sees sense. Gonzo's the only person who knows how to open a door. Now I'm going to get Gonzo back, and I'm not going to repeat that thing so Gonzo doesn't know what Doug actually just said. Can you hear us all right?
I can hear you. It's only to get all defensive and cut me off.
It's all right. I can't see you, but I can hear you. Okay, so you're coming through. We'll start wrapping this up anyway. We've been sitting chatting for an hour and 10 minutes. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Gonzo?
No, not really.
I can't see you, so I don't know what you're looking.
No, I've called back to say no. I've had enough. I'm off. But yeah, sorry about that. Obviously, you were highly offended by the McDonald's talk and the personal hygiene stuff.
Someone was offended anyway. We'll do another video this week with the rest of your comments. We've got too many. Apologies if we've skipped it. We'll do another video. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new around here, of course. If you haven't already, do check out our Patreon link. It's in the description below. But as we did the update video last week, if none of this content that you currently get is going away, it's not going behind a paywall. Cup of tea is staying, previews, reviews, Talk West Ham, Gonzo's lunchtime video, it's all staying free. So if you're not a Patreon, you're not going to miss out on anything. You just get additional content. But thank you to those guys. 91% towards our target, which is unbelievable, which means me and Gonzo may be able to take a week off work
Thank
in
you.
February. I forgot you were there. I can't see you. We're trying to get an ex-player interview. It's proving a bit difficult.
Hello, Geo. It's Robert Snodgrass.
Right, okay, we're going to go.
Would you like to do the interview now?
Thank you very much. Catch you in a bit.